Now a Team 6 investigation into youth coaches in South Florida who some say shouldn't be coaches at all.
They are blaming one local city for setting a very low bar for screening them. Here's Team 6 investigator Willard Shepard.
Like most South Florida cities, Miami Gardens offers a variety of after-school athletic programs: basketball, swimming, ballet, and football, among others.
The programs are really, to build character.
City Manager Cameron Benson is ultimately responsible for screening the volunteer coaches who mentor the kids, like Chad Black, guilty of aggravated battery in '05 and ordered into an anger management program. Jacques Charles Pierre, found guilty in '07 of stealing a semi-automatic pistol that police records say was loaded with 9mm ammunition. He had a burglary with assault and battery conviction 6 years prior. And Brandon Terry, who committed armed robbery with a firearm in '07.
Our message is, yes, we give individuals an opportunity, a second chance, if you will, to help give back to the community.
Charles Pierre is the only youth coach we found with a criminal conviction who agreed to speak to us so far. He believes he's the perfect person to coach in Miami Gardens.
I'll be there to show them the right way, so not to do this, not to do that.
But some parents we talk to don't see it that way.
I would prefer not to have my kids around someone, with history like that.
So why would I want my daughter to be surrounded by people who is not giving her something positive?
Team 6 investigators obtained the background checks the City of Miami Gardens ran on 306 youth coach volunteers, mostly for football. 31, or just about 10%, had felony convictions in the past 10 years. Andre Williams is a former city councilman.
We need to hold our volunteers to higher standards.
An ordinance says the city can refuse to allow anyone to volunteer on good cause. It's an option Williams thinks the city should exercise.
Individuals with certain felony backgrounds are not proper role models and should not be supervising our kids.
Williams says role models are especially important in communities like Miami Gardens, where violence is so common. Just last month, an 18-year-old victim of a drive-by shooting, as residents and city leaders rallied for peace. 12-year-old Tequila Forche murdered when someone sprayed her grandmother's house with bullets. And in late October, 10 people shot in just 11 days. Miami Gardens ordinance used to ban anyone with 2 convictions for a violent felony or trafficking of a controlled substance within 5 years. But Mayor Oliver Gilbert, then a city councilman, successfully introduced an amendment to relax the standard to 10 years. Compare that to Miami Lakes, the City of Miami, Deerfield Beach, and Pembroke Pines, which have zero tolerance for violent felonies and where simple drug possession, not just trafficking, can be grounds for disqualification. Still, Benson defends Miami Gardens' tolerance of criminals as youth coaches.
I can tell you to date, we haven't had any incidents with any volunteers.
While we don't know of any incidents involving kids, we do know that volunteer coach Michael Terry was convicted in '04 of felony battery on a sports official on school property in Miami-Dade County. Despite Miami Gardens' ban on drug traffickers, the Team 6 investigators found volunteer coaches like Aaron Bateen, who was convicted of armed cocaine trafficking in 2006, and Theophilus Freeman, found guilty of trafficking cocaine, marijuana, and narcotics at least 8 times in 13 years. Most recently last year, when he pled guilty to smuggling marijuana into a detention center. The same year, he was a Miami Gardens volunteer football coach. Do you know if anybody's applied for this program and not been accepted?
To my knowledge, no.
That makes me very angry because that makes it very clear to me that they're not even following the guidelines of the ordinance.
One coach who declined to be interviewed on camera told us that sometimes the coaches drive the kids to and from practice. That coach had a DUI conviction, while 51 others had been convicted of driving with a suspended license, 5 of them habitually. In Miami Gardens, Willard Shepard, NBC6, South Florida.
And the Team 6 investigators are working for you. If you have a story you think they need to check out, send an email to Team 6 investigators at NBC6.com or just call one of our tip lines on the screen. And remember, you can watch all our investigations on NBC6.com.